Hey guys, it's Ender here again, and I'm back in the Huron because I want to take the time to show you some, uh, we'll call it some more Varsity type stuff um, for the Huron. And really, it's a big helicopter to fly if you're doing it solely in first person. And one of the things that can really aid the pilot in flying this thing is the sling load camera right here. Alright, and the point I want to make is that you see how it's rectangular? Well, imagine that the outline of that rectangle is the 4 points of that rectangle are the 4 points of your tires, your main landing gear here, right? So, if you drew lines between each of the wheels there, it would create a rectangle that is somewhat consistent with the rectangle we see here on the dash, right? So, bearing that in mind, we can make an assumption. That assumption being that the front of the screen, or I should say the top of the screen, is the boundary of your front main landing gear, and the aft of your screen is the boundary of your, or the bottom of the screen is the aft landing gear, the boundary of your aft landing gear, right? And you remember, if you've seen the other video, I talk about putting the main, the rear main landing gear on the ground. There, right? And I talk about keeping your front wheels up off the ground. This allows for your main rotor to clear any obstacles that might be in front of it, right? So if I kill my power, the main rotor sits much lower to the ground, right? If I add a little bit of power, pull back on the cyclic, now both rotors are just about equidistant from the deck and any surrounding obstacles, which means that I could land right up against one of these cargo containers and not risk breaking the helicopter. Right, I'll demonstrate using this method to clear obstacles. Okay, now, I'm clearing the obstacle in front of me, right? Obviously, I would hit that, so I'll demonstrate that now by cutting the power. I hit the obstacles, right? So this technique allows you to get much closer to you know, obstacles that may be in front of you, because again, usually the aft rotor clears most everything around it. It's the front rotor that will strike objects on the ground. So you use the technique I just showed you to clear obstacles, right? I hope I just demonstrated that pretty well for you. So we'll load back up here. And then I'll go and show you a little treat, something I threw together here a long time ago. And I'll demonstrate the next item I want to show you guys based off of the technique I just demonstrated, right? So we'll come over here. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I have already a button assigned for sling loading. We'll use a combination of looking outside and the sling load camera here. So I'm just kind of looking straight ahead using outside visual keys. Okay, now out of my peripheral vision I see that the cargo container is coming into view. I just hit my sling button. There it is. Alright, my eyes are transitioning from looking straight out over the top of the panel into the distance for my hover, and looking down at the camera. Alright, so we got the sling load. So, if you guys didn't know this, 10 meters is the length of your sling, and I want to say it's 10 meters. I think it's 10 meters, yeah. You have to be 10 meters, under 10 meters in order to sling load an object. And so basically, if you're trying to drop something off on the ground, just wait until your altitude says 10 meters, and you'll know that it's whatever you have slung is on deck. So, check this out. What do we have here? A mountaintop radar site? What? All right, so we'll drop off this this load. Your PIP, projected impact point. It's that little ball that's dancing around out there. It's kind of erratic in the Huron. Okay, I'm going to transition now to looking at my, over the top of my panel to maintain a steady hover, and then glancing down occasionally at my camera, right? So I glance down to get a quick reference, and then I make small adjustments while focusing out over the top of my panel, right? There. Okay, guys. That was just for the hell of it. This is just something I whipped together back when we first got to NOAA, just for the fun of it. Just elevated platform thing, military installation. Alright guys, so earlier I said the bottom of your camera there pretty closely corresponds to your back tires, right? So you cannot always land the Huron. It's a big helicopter. There's not always going to be room to land these things. So what you can do is utilize the surfaces of what would normally be an obstacle, like a house, like the roof of a house, to affect your landing. All right, and I'm going to demonstrate this right now by landing just the aft tires in first person on that walkway down there. Okay, this is a pretty extreme example, a very extreme example, but yeah, here we go. I can't save. All right, well, I guess better not screw up. Okay, so what you do, remember that if you want to carry your speed, set 5 degrees nose up attitude. That will carry whatever speed you have. It won't accelerate, it won't decelerate. Alright, this is true whether you're climbing or descending. Anything higher than that will decelerate you, like I'm doing right now. What I'm going to do is I'll keep my PIP. I always keep my PIP above and in front of wherever I want to land when I'm trying to do this. You know, because that's my flight path, right? That's my projected impact point, and I am in the cockpit. The PIP is relative to my head, right? So my head goes wherever that PIP goes eventually, if I peg it somewhere. And since you're sitting in front of 20 meters of helicopter, you want your PIP to be out in front of whatever it is you're landing at, because you know, your helicopter is going to be 20, 30 meters behind you after you land at the projected impact point, right? All right. As I make my approach, I'm going to use power to modulate my descent. Oh man, that's freaking disorienting looking out there into the fog. I quite literally have to use my instruments up there. Okay, so I'm going to use power to modulate my descent, obviously. I'm going to set a nice slow speed of probably maybe 20 kilometers an hour. And if I need to accelerate or if I need to decelerate, it's going to be very small movements in pitch, with the goal not being, or the goal being to not go higher than 10 degrees nose up or lower than 0 degrees nose down, okay? So, as I get closer to my intended landing point, I'm going to transition my head to the side like this so I can get a good look. I keep my head oriented so that on the left side of my screen I can still see the landing camera, the sling load camera. I'm calling it landing camera because that's what I'm using it for. And then I can also see out my chin window here. Alright, here we go. Alright. Coming up on 20 kilometers an hour. Focusing on keeping the helicopter from hitting obstacles on the way down. About 5 degrees nose up. Okay. Now I'm using power to start my descent. I'm going to keep my pip in front of the walkway there, the catwalk. Okay. Alright. It's go time now. I'm looking now at my camera. Okay. Did you see that? A little bit of a hard landing. Oh, man, that made me nervous. Alright. You see that? As soon as I saw the walkway start crossing the top of the sling camera, I essentially cut my power. I do have some power put in right now so to affect my nose up attitude. Alright, but the idea, hopefully, obviously, you'd probably have a little bit bigger of a platform, you know. I doubt you're going to have any situation that will arise where you need to land on a walkway type thing like this. But as long as the passengers who are disembarking are not sitting in either the crew chief spots, the little windows right there that are open, just after the cabin door, as long as they're not sitting there, everybody will disembark out of the back of the aircraft. Now, obviously, right now, the way I have the helicopter, I think they would probably just disembark and fall to their deaths. You know, this is purely for demonstration purposes. But you kind of get the idea, all right? So, there's probably, if we look at the outside and we look at the camera as it is now, we can see that I got about, let's call it a meter between the back tire there and the edge of the platform, moving towards the front of the helicopter, right? And I obviously don't see the platform. I see the pillars for the walkway there, but I don't see the platform. So after whatever it is, whatever surface you're trying to land on disappears out of the bottom of the screen, you only have, I mean, a split second to get this thing down on the deck. Otherwise, you risk losing you miss it altogether. Going through and practicing this like I have, I've noticed that basically if I can keep the whatever edge of whatever platform, whatever surface I'm trying to land on, like lined up on the bottom of the screen, it's almost like foolproof. That gives me about obviously a good meter or two of surface to land on without you know, dropping the helicopter and crashing, which I've done multiple times. So when you do this, try and always keep the that whatever surface you're landing on along the bottom edge of your camera there. But if you find it starting to disappear out of your camera's view, as long as you're close to landing on that surface, cut your power. Get down quickly. You may run into the problem I did where you kind of ding. Oh shit! Oh, I lost my situational awareness. But I think you guys get the idea here, right? Okay. So let's now. That was the extreme demonstration. Let's go practice it on more like practical applications. So I've tried doing this on like King of the Hill towers, and I crash every time. It's there's just that little tower right there that sticks up. You can fly a helicopter through the whip antenna all day long, but you can't hit that like lattice structure right there. If anything strikes that, you're done, and it's just a little bit too high for this aft main rotor. And then if you pretty much touch any part of that tower with the body of the helicopter, anything but a wheel, it blows up. So I've pretty much determined that as far as the Huron goes, you're not going to be doing any tactical insertions with the Huron on King of the Hill towers. Maybe a low hover. That would be difficult, and I mean doable, but man, there's so little room for error because it just likes to blow up so bad. Alright, okay, so you see that bridge right there? Kind of like scope it out, see if I can hang the body of the helicopter over. I don't think that's gonna work. I did scope out a bridge over here. I'll be right back. Okay, so I had to take a look at the map. I found my bridge. There it is right there. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to swim back around. I'll keep my pip out past it. I've already determined that I can fit the helicopter between the trees, including the rotor blades. I'm going to try and maintain a descent rate that is higher than 5 meters per second. I'm going to be cognizant of the trees that are behind me as I'm going to make this approach, which means that I pretty much have to put the body of the helicopter way out there. Yeah, alright. I'm probably going to use auto hover on this one. Wheels down, brakes are on. Alright. Setting my head so I can see the camera here. Auto hover's on. Don't normally use auto hover. I got trees behind me, so I'm going to try and scoot it up forward here. Auto hover is tremendously helpful right now. I'm trying to keep the edge. Okay, something didn't work out there. I think on that one, you know, I just gotten done saying I'm trying to keep the edge lined up with the bottom of the camera, and a really high descent rate kind of developed there because I got task saturated. Let's try it again. Let's go. That's a really challenging spot because you got to do like practically a vertical descent down onto it. This time we'll slip it in. I should say slide it in. Auto hover's on. Nice, nice slow pedal movement. Got my head looking forward so I can observe the camera. Wheels are down, brakes are on. Okay. Alright, we're on deck. Let's check it out. Okay. Right. Now people are getting out. I mean, obviously, guys, obviously I could have landed on this thing, you know, in line with the roadway very easily. But this is just to demonstrate the point. You can kind of do like pinnacle landings, okay? Now, I just want to show you that you have options available to you with the Huron. It'll take a little bit of practice, and this is a very challenging situation I set up here. So, because there's not a lot of clearance on the descent if you're coming up from the trees. So, trying to do it quickly while getting shot at, that might be difficult, but I've started practicing that, and here, shortly, I hope to get some footage of me doing just that in the AO. So, transitioning to instruments. Still looking solely at my instruments. You can see I'm turning back around. I have 100 meters. Kind of spooky being down there in the fog, man. All right, let's go find like a rooftop and do a rooftop. Be back in a second. Okay. Almost had a bird strike. No big deal. It's not really simulated at ARMA, is it? Again, with the Huron, it only takes a very, very little bit of pedal input to coordinate your turn. And typically, you want to roll in your pedal input first before you initiate your bank, your roll with lateral cyclic. All right, so pedal first, then cyclic, and that is the best way to roll into a turn. All right, there's a little compound up here. Checking out, brakes are down. Brakes, wheels down, brakes are on. I'll put my pip just beyond the roof. Nice, steady descent rate with okay, I'm looking at the camera now. I'm looking at the camera. All right. Well, I was trying to get the camera to show me the dirt out there. Everybody's off, and we're out. Huron's kind of a fun bird to fly once you get used to its nuances. Pedal first, roll into it. Back out to the radar site. See if we can find another spot to put this thing down on. Yeah, light pole. I mean, I guess we could Whew. Almost wrecked it into that tower. Not a lot of places to put a Huron. I mean, just that platform, I guess. All right, here we go. Got some settling going on right now. There we go. I'm just going to walk it over nice and sideways. Keep the pip out past the platform. Pray to God I'm going to clear the tower there. Transitioning to camera. Show me the money. All right, we're on deck. We're on deck. We're on deck. I'm holding pitch. Cool. Alright guys, I think you kind of see what I'm talking about there. Next time I get footage, I think I'm going to try and get it from the AO. But I'm going to try and scour what hilltops are not obscured by the fog out here. And find another building just for one last go. And I won't stop recording because you guys probably enjoy this kind of thing, so. Kind of a cool ambiance, the fog banks down there in the valleys and troughs. See that little orchard down there? That's a place where you could land with just the back tires, keep the front tires up in the air, and not have to worry about striking your rotors. Wheels down, brakes on, just to show you. Those are all bigger than I thought they were. I don't think I'm going to do this. Ugh, spooky. I was thinking like the vineyards, you know, of Malden. We all love to go slamming helicopters down into those. Half curious how my little trick would work on this on these rocks. What do we got here? Ancient ruins. Man, I really want to get this thing down in there, but I can't. See some kind of man-made object out there. Oh, I see a roof. All right, we're doing it. Gotta scope it out here. All right. Due to whatever circumstance, I've decided, no suitable landing zone exists, so I'm going to make one. It's coming into view on the camera. Little hard. That's okay though. We're down. Everybody out. Nice and safe, right? Auto hover's off. And away we go. And what I really don't want to happen is have to auto rotate into the fog, because I'm losing fuel quick. Like, really quick. Let's see if I can get her back. 2.6 kilometers. Well, I'm not going to make 2.6 kilometers, but nice and open right there. I'll put it down and we'll close this out. Oh, geez, it's so hard to see when the windows are broken on this thing. Come on, baby. Don't quit on me. Again, when the camera really comes in handy, it looks like my fuel leak has mostly stopped. There's a roadway right there. Perfect. Looking at the camera, there's the road coming into view. Okay, I'm going backwards now, so set that 5 degrees nose down. Nose up. Okay, guys. All right. Yeah, that was there she goes. That was good stuff. I hope you got a little something out of that. Little trick to put in your back pocket if you're going to be flying a Huron there in first person. You know, just using your resources to your advantage. And I hope you enjoyed the scenic. Oh, what did I call it? Mountaintop radar site. Yeah, guys. Okay. All right. Well, this is Ender. I will bring you some footage of this in practice on the battlefield, and we'll see how it goes. It's probably going to be really ugly, but also hilarious. Goodbye.